Case Study 2. Meet Laura. She is 40 years old, is 5'6", weighs 155 pounds, is a waitress, is married, and has 2 children. Laura grew up in the suburbs of New York City. She has always been active. She played softball, volleyball, and ran cross country in high school. After high school, she got a job serving at a local restaurant. She attended a community college for 2 years where she studied abroad for a semester in England. After graduation, she decided she wanted to use her savings to travel. She traveled consistently for 2 years, working odd jobs bartending and serving. During her travels, she met her now husband, and after dating for a few months, they decided to move back to Laura's hometown together. They married when Laura was 26, and shortly after, she had her first daughter, Gemma, followed by her second daughter, Adeline, at the age of 28. Laura has been smoking on and off since she started traveling at the age of 20. Currently, she is not. She started noticing varicose veins around the age of 36. As a result, she started having cellulitis infections in her legs, for which she'd have to take antibiotics. Regardless of treatment, though, she can't seem to keep the cellulitis infections from coming back, and they have been on and off again for 4 years. Currently, she is taking ibuprofen at least twice a day to help with swelling and pain. Her mother is still living. Her father died of a heart attack at age 60. She has a family history of high blood pressure on her father's side, but no history of mental illness on either side, no history of drug or alcohol abuse, and no prior surgeries. Laura's diet. In an attempt to improve her blood circulation, her primary doctor recommended limiting her saturated fat intake. In order to do this, Laura decided to cut out red meat. She felt so good after doing this, she decided to become a full vegetarian. She hasn't looked much into it, but thinks this must be healthier than eating meat. She has been vegetarian now for the past 6 months. Laura's physical activity. She works 5 days a week, 8 hours a day as a waitress, so is on her feet all day. In addition to that, she goes for a half-an-hour walk with her daughters every night after dinner. She would like to be more active, though, like when she was younger. Ideally, she'd like to start a gym regimen, but is unsure if she has the time and doesn't want to take quality time away from her husband and children. Typical day's worth of food. She usually doesn't have time for breakfast because she's getting the kids ready and packing their lunches. So typically it consists of something she can eat in the car while driving them to school. Something like a granola bar or banana with black coffee. For lunch, she typically eats at the restaurant she works at, but they don't have many vegetarian options, so it's usually just a simple salad consisting of mixed greens, tomato, and cucumber, or vegetable soup, or just fries to hold her over. To drink, she only has water, but admittedly has more coffee to curb her appetite because she is typically still hungry after lunch. She tries to cook a healthy dinner at home for her family, but her family still eats meat, which makes cooking more challenging. She tries to make dishes that can be served either vegetarian or with meat. For instance, stir fries, different types of flatbreads, chili, roasted vegetables, or whole wheat pasta with marinara sauce. Overall, Laura is very proud of her diet. She thinks she is eating very healthy. However, admittedly, she put on a few pounds in the past 6 months, but is not sure why. Laura's symptoms. Usually, she is very energetic. She cooks, cleans, works, and most of all, loves playing with her daughters. Lately, though, she has been feeling run down. She is finding it increasingly tough to make it through the workday. She has been experiencing extreme fatigue, headaches, and detachment from things she once found joy in. Her husband even suggested they take a trip to Hawaii, somewhere she's always wanted to go, and she declined. She has never turned down the opportunity to travel. That's when he started getting very worried and urged her to see a doctor. Laura's doctor requested for her to complete a 24-hour dietary recall. The results prompted the doctor to take blood work. Blood work reveals microcytic or abnormally small red blood cells, and hypochromic or abnormally lacking color red blood cells. Further testing reveals increases in erythrocyte protoporphyrin, decreases in mean cell volume, and decreased hemoglobin. Laura is then diagnosed with iron deficiency anemia. You're Laura's doctor and just diagnosed her with iron deficiency anemia. Questions. What prompted you to have Laura complete a 24-hour dietary recall? What would be your number one recommendation for Laura to enhance her iron levels? And what are some factors that could have led to Laura's iron deficiency anemia?